Hey guys, Julia here. Welcome back to another video, and this time around I'm setting up my May spreads for my Reflections bullet journal. And sometimes I'm not really in the mood to do a bunch of drawing. You guys know I like to keep this set up easy peasy, quick, and I thought it would be a good time to utilize some of that scrap clippings and magazine paper that I have in my stash. So my process for this setup was choosing a magazine clipping to act as sort of the foundation that everything else was built around, and I love this one that I ended up going with. It's really colorful and has a pretty large variety of really simple patterns that I can work with and sort of recreate throughout since I don't have a bunch of this paper. This is actually the only bit I have, and I can't even tell you what magazine I found this in. But I also have this number 5 clipping that has that same sort of vibe, and May's the 5th month of the year, so that worked out well. Oh yeah, and this super simple black and white floral scrap that adds a bit of contrast here. Speaking of contrast, I'm also digging in the back of my daily bullet journal and grabbing some scraps of blackout dot grid paper. So I have a super busy background paired with a more like sparse floral piece and then a solid scrap. So yeah, that was definitely intentional to have these sort of varying degrees of busyness. So I'm using my Archer & Olive Acrylograph white pen to write in May on the black paper. They do sell these individually now, and I am an Archer & Olive affiliate these days, so I'll pop that affiliate code on the screen and down in the description if you want to check out Archer & Olive and support the channel. I also rounded up some washi tape that matched the color story going on in this, and I'm just layering them in so that it won't be like weird when it shows up in other spreads. Basically, I'm setting the stage here for a theme to actually be like a cohesive unit. But this page on the right is the intentions page, and here I just write in things I want to focus on and just be mindful of in the coming month. I'm also throwing in my mood tracker key here that I, of course, kind of fudged up the first go around. This is only month 2 of doing it, so I was just a little more confident than I should have been, but yeah, we fixed that. That's why the white pens are awesome. And for that header, I just threw in some of that floral scrap with some black paper and washi tape, and I've already started pulling elements out of that main cover image and putting some red dots there and carrying pieces of that pattern along throughout. All right, so this first week. Okay, y'all, so the deal is I didn't do too much pre-planning with this one. I sort of never do with these, but that's typically the fun of it, but not in this case, so don't judge me here. I absolutely hated how this turned out, and we'll actually be returning to this spread later. I could have just edited this all out, but I thought after the fact it would be cool to show you how you can workshop and Frankenstein a spread that you don't really like. I just think with this one as is, it just doesn't match up with the cover spread that well. The brackets for the headers are pretty random, and yeah, it's kind of a bore, so definitely stick around to see how this spread has a little glow up. But moving on to the next spread, I found another magazine clipping that had this like same sort of colors going on, and I thought it would be a sweet little addition. So I'm adding that in the top corner, and then for some symmetry here, I'm adding in a blue bit of cardstock on the bottom of the opposite page. And I have just a bit of that floral scrap left, so I'm just moving that around and eventually add that into the bottom right. I'm not a master of layering or anything, but I do think just moving the pieces around, trying different things, utilizing a bit of like an offset with the different elements is a good tip to start off. So using some of those same patterns from the cover page, there were some dots, some raindrops shapes, wavy lines. I'm just adding those in on top of the blue paper to again push that idea of a cohesive theme, even though these are all bits of paper and tape from all over the place. I would also say if you're into layering, collaging, or if you want to give it a try, just keep your eyes open for like neat packaging, patterns in magazines or mailers. I think you might be surprised once you start thinking that way and actually looking out for like little scraps of beauty, like how many cool things you can find. But I'm finishing this one off by adding in my mood boxes, and yeah, I think this spread turned out to be a nice mix of simple and impactful. Alright, for this next one, on the left page, I'm staggering the boxes just for something a little different, and a really quick explanation of this journal if this is your first reflection journal setup video with me. I keep this notebook on my nightstand, and I just write a little bit every night about my day, what I'm feeling, whatever I want, and I add my mood for the day in there, and then once I'm all the way through the first year, I'll be able to flip back through, do it all over again next year, next to my entries from this year, and can just do a quick side-by-side comparison of what was going on. So yeah, that's just the really quick rundown of what's going on here. But back to the spread, I actually didn't like the headers here, so I'm filling those in with black and just gonna go and write the dates on top with the white pen. But of course, my lack of patience, I ended up smearing the header right across the center of the page. Go me, but I guess no worries. It happens to be in such a way where I'm just gonna like cover it up with some washi tape, and bam, fixed. A few layers of white pen could have worked here as well, but I think the washi ended up being a quick fix for this one. The next spread is probably one of my favorite layouts for this journal. It's pretty basic, just 6 sections split into 2, but I love the horizontal writing space here. Although it's probably not technically any more space than some of the other spreads, it feels like I can fit a good quick rundown of the day in this space. But the red is just so silky, y'all. And I ended up just using that solid blue paper as like a color block piece in this one, and instead of having the red pattern pieces sort of staying in that blue, they're running wild. And I don't know, I really loved how this little bit of it turned out. Oh yeah, and I was pretty proud of myself for this one on the fly as well, using the white pen. I'm just doodling in some of those like quick motifs just on the ends of the header boxes, and this is just a cute little accent that ties those sort of stark headers in with the rest of the spread. So for this next one, I noticed there were just some pinks and purples in the cover page pattern, so I wanted to switch things up for this one and add in some of that purple color story with this. And luckily I had some purple patterned cardstock that I could just bring in and work with here. So yeah, I'm using some of those same techniques I've been using throughout, just with a different main color palette. And hey, even though this isn't primarily blue, red, and black, it still looks like it belongs because of other similarities. Just something to keep in mind if you're collaging in a theme. So as you can see on this right spread, I switched things up with a different shade of purple and also switched up the layout. But I really love how vibrant this spread is. It kind of gives me like teenager in the 90s vibes, yeah? Okay, let's revisit this first spread now that I have a handle on what I'm doing. So after staring at the spread for a good long time, I decided to just cover the pages using the Arch and Olive dot grid notepads. Since this journal is a bit smaller than the traditional A5, I had to cut it down just a hair to get it to fit in. It's pretty much perfect though. I think the bones of the original one, that layout is great, and it fits 8 days in a spread, technically 16, which is pretty awesome. So I'm pulling in those pinks here with another just simple striped piece of magazine paper, but I'm dressing that striped one up with this super simple scale looking pattern that's from the cover page. Shocker, I know. And this zigzag pattern. And this is all just matching up really well, and it didn't take too much thinking, which is awesome. It's literally straight from that cover page pattern. And I'm going for headers that are super colorful this go around, and they're, again, colors that come from that overall color story. There is indeed a method. Eventually, there is a method. And once I throw the numbers into the headers, that is going to do it for this spread redo. It looks so much better. What do you guys think? So here we are at the last spread of the setup, and these are down and dirty, quick and easy. This is the highlights and memory spread, and I'm just leaving this wide open for photos, for doodles, for just a list of cool things that happened in May. And for this one, I'm basically setting up like a little border, and I'm piling all the things here. It's basically just a cluster of all the elements that I used throughout the theme. And sorry about the little blurry spot in there, guys. We're just not in focus. Help me. Okay, but the last touch is pulling in that little 5 from the cover page. Do you remember that? And I'm just writing in the 2 years, just mimicking that look. Black and white, bold, and dotting it up in the middle. So yeah, that's what I've got going on for my May's Reflection Bullet Journal. Let me know what you guys think of this one down in the comments, and be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications because next week, hopefully, I'm setting up a pretty awesome May in my daily bullet journal. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Know that I appreciate your time more than you know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys. And if you like this video, here are a couple more I think you would enjoy.